Very fresh good morning and Jai Hind. Today I will continue where I left in my previous video. We are studying the enemy chapter in which Dr. Sadao found an American soldier. His condition was not good. What Dr. Sadao did, that is all about the story. So I will continue from the text. Clouds were rising from the ocean now. The unexpected warmth of the past few days had at night drawn heavy fog from the cold waves. Sadam watched mist hide outline of a little island near the shore and then come creeping up the beach below the house. Wreathing around the pines, in a few minutes fog would be wrapped about the house too. Then he would go into the room where Hannah, his wife, would be waiting for him with the two children. Here is a description of Dr. Sadao. The writer describes the scene outside Dr. Sadao's house as the days were unusually warm and the sea waves were cold. The nights became foggy. Dr. Sadao saw the boundary of a nearby island became invisible gradually as it got covered in the mist. Slowly the mist was coming closer to him. Soon there would be mist all around his house. At that time he would go back into the house to his wife Hannah, who was waiting for him along with their two children. But at this moment Dr. Sadao, the door opened and she looked out. A dark blue woolen hurry over the kimono. She came to him affectionately and but at this moment the door opened and she looked out. A dark blue woolen hurry over the kimono. She came to him affectionately and put her arm through his as he stood, smiled and said nothing. He had met Hannah in America, but he had waited to fall in love with her until he was sure she was Japanese. His father would never have received her unless she had been pure in her race. He wondered often whom he would have married if he had not met Hannah, and by what luck he had found her in the most casual way. By chance, literally, as at an American professor's house. The professor and his wife had been kind people anxious to do something for their few foreign students, and the students though bored but accepted his kindness. Sadao had often told Hannah how nearly he had not gone to Professor Harley's house that night. The rooms were so small, the food so bad, the professor's wife so voluble, but he had gone and there he had found Hannah, a new student, and had felt he would love her if it were at all possible. Harry, a loose outer garment worn over the kimono, a traditional Jamani garment. So, before Sadao could go inside, the door opened and his wife looked out for him. She was wearing a dark blue colored gown over his dress. She lovingly crossed her arm with him, smiled at him, remained silent and stood by him. They had met in America. Sadao knew that his father would marry him to a Japanese girl only, so he ensured this before falling in love with her. Sadao considered himself to be lucky to have accidentally met her at an American professor's house. He wondered that he not met her, she would not have got a wife all his life. He thought that the professor and his wife were kind as they were keen to help foreign students. He was glad that they had accepted this kindness and went to their house because it was there that he had met Hannah. Sadao would often tell Hannah that it was a mere coincidence that he went to the professor's house that night, as the rooms in this house was small, the food was not good, and the professor's wife was very talkative. If he had not gone there that night, he would not have met Hannah. At that time, Hannah was a new student. Sadao had thought that he would love her if at all it would be possible for him. Why he said so? Because his father wouldn't accept her if she was not Japanese. Now he felt her hand on his arm and was aware of the pleasure it gave him. Even though they had been married years enough to have the two children, for they had not married heedlessly in America. They had finished their work at school and had come home to Japan, and when his father had seen her, the marriage had been arranged in the old Japanese way. Although Sadao and Hana had talked everything over beforehand, they were perfectly happy. She laid her cheek against his arm. Here you can get the clear explanation of their relationship, that they fall in love with each other, but they were not in hurry to get married. They completed their education, they completed their degree, and after completion of education, Dr. Sadao came back and their marriage was organized or arranged by his father. Sadao and Hana loved each other even after having two children. After many years of marriage, they had not married in a hassle in America. Rather than they returned to Japan, sought permission from their parents, and then got married in a traditional Japanese ceremony. They had discussed all the details before the wedding. They were happy with each other. Hana rested her cheeks against Sadao's. It was at this morning that both of them saw something black come out of the mist. It was a man. He was flung up out of the ocean, flung, it seems, to his feet by a breaker. He staggered a few steps, his body outlined against the mist, his arms above his head. Then the curled mist hit him again. Staggered, walk unsteadily as if about to fall. When a person is not well, when a person is not full consciousness and he tried to walk, he would definitely stagger. That moment they saw a figure appear out of the mist. It appeared black in color due to the mist in the air. The outline of a man's body was visible in the mist. He walked unsteadily with his arm off the head. It was an indication that he was a prisoner. The man walked a few steps and then disappeared in the mist. Who's that? Hana cried. She dropped Sadao's arm and they both leaned over the railing of the veranda. Now they saw him again. The man was on his hands and knees crawling. Then they saw him fall on his face and lie there. Lean bent forward. Upon seeing the figure, Hana reacted by asking that who was that. She took her arm out of Sadao's arm and both of them bent towards the railing veranda to have a closer look at the man. They saw him again. He was crawling on his hand and knees. A fisherman perhaps, Sadao said, washed from his boat. He ran quickly down the steps and behind him Hana came, her white sleeves flying. A mile or two away on either side there were fishing villages, but there was only the bare and lonely coast, dangerous with rocks. The surf beyond the beach was spiked with rocks. Somehow the man had managed to come through them. He must be badly torn, spiked, covered with sharp points. As the area had villages full of fishermen, Sadao said that probably it was a fisherman who had been washed off his boat. He ran to help him. Hana followed him. The loose sleeves of her airy flew as she ran. This part of the coast was not inhabited as it had dangerous rocks on it. As the rocks were pointed, the man could be badly injured, although he had managed to come through them. They saw when they came towards him that indeed it was so. The sand on one side of him had already a stain of it red soaking through. Red is a stain of red blood stains. It indicates that the man is seriously injured. As the Japanese couple saw the man, they realized that he was badly injured. The sand on which he laid had blood stains on one side, which indicated that he was wounded. "He is wounded," Sadao exclaimed. He made haste to the man, who lay motionless, his face in the sand. An old cap stuck to his head, soaked with sea water. He was in wet rags of garments. Sadao stopped Hana at his side and turned the man's head. They saw the face. "A white man," Hana whispered. Sadao said that the man was wounded. He approached the man, who lay motionless with his face buried in the sand. An old cap hung on his head. It was soaked with the sea water. His dress was also wet and torn. Sadao turned the man's head. As they saw the face, Hana spoke confidentially that he was a white and American. A white man is a symbolic word, is represent American. Yes, it was a white man. The wet cap fell away here. There was his wet yellow hair, long as though for many weeks it had not been cut, and upon his young and tortured face was a rough yellow beard. He was unconscious and knew nothing that they did for him. The injured man was an American. As his cap fell off, they saw his wet yellow colored hair, which had not been cut for a long time. He was young. His face had such mark which indicated that he had been tortured. He had a rough, unkempt yellow colored beard. As he had fainted, he did not know of the presence of Sadao and Hana. Definitely he was unconscious, so how he was able to know all these things? Now Dr. Sadao remembered the wound, and with his expert fingers he began to search for it. Blood flowed freshly at his touch on the right side of his lower back, but it indicates that the injury is not very old. He recently got that injuries. On the right side of his lower back, Sadao saw that a gun wound had been reopened. The flesh was blackened with the powder some time. Not many days ago, the man had been shot and had not been tended. It was bad chance that the rock had struck the wound. Tended, cared for, looked after. Sadao was reminded that the man was wounded, as he had seen blood stains on the sand. As he was a doctor, as he was an expert doctor, he came to know that the man was wounded very badly. He also searched and found the gun mark, and which indicate that he was got a shot. "Oh, how he is bleeding," Hana whispered again in a solemn voice. The mist screened them now completely, and at this time of day no one came by. The fisherman had gone home, and even the chance bench combers would have considered the day at the end. Solemn, serious and concerned. Beachcomber, a vagrant who makes a living by searching beaches for article of values or selling items. Hana was concerned that the man was injured and said in a low voice that he was bleeding. The mist had intensified now. The three of them could not be spotted by anyone. Moreover, the fisherman and the rag pickers did not visit the place at that time of the day. "What shall we do with this man?" Sadao muttered, but his trained hands seemed of their own will to be doing what they could withstand the fearful bleeding. He packed the wound with the sea moss that strewed the beach. The man moved with pain in his stupor, but he did not awaken. Muttered speak in a low voice. You can use this word as synonyms of whisper, but whisper and mutter is different kind of word. In whispering, we say something to others. In matter, we speak to ourselves. Stands, stop or strict, sea moss, a kind of seaweed, stewed or to be scattered, moan, a low cry in pain, stupor, a state of unconsciousness. The best thing that we could do would be to put him back into the sea, Sadao said, answering himself. Now that the bleeding was stopped, it for the moment he stood up and dusted the sand from his hand. Yes, undoubtedly, that would be best, Hannah said steadily. But she continued to stare down at the motionless man. If we sheltered a white man in a house, we would be arrested, and if we turned him over as a prisoner, he would certainly die, Sadao said. The kindest thing would be to put him back into the sea, Hannah said, but neither of them moved. They were staring with a curious repulsion upon the inert finger. Repulsion, a strong dislike, inert, motionless. Sada answered to himself and said that the best thing was to put the man back into the sea. As the bleeding stopped, he stood up and removed the dust from his hand. He supported his opinion but looked intensely at the man as he lay still. Sadao said that if they gave him shelter, they would be arrested for sheltering an enemy. If they landed him over to the Japanese army as a prisoner, then he would die in the prison, as he thought that both of the options were not favorable. So the best option was to put him back into the sea. Hannah added that the kindest act for them was to put him back into the sea. Both of them did not move ahead to do so. Rather, they stared at the motionless figure with dislike. They disliked him because he was an enemy, an American. Here, I want to share what happened in a movie Badla. You have noticed the same kind of thing happened when a boy who was died found the boy who met an accident, but later Taapsee Pannu discovered that the boy was not dead. But what she did, the act was not the act of kindness. The best way how we have to judge ourselves, to keep ourselves at that place and think. When you keep yourself at that place and imagine, you will always do the justice with others. That is the best way to do the justice with others. अगर किसी इंसान को अपने आंखों के सामने अगर हम मरने देते हैं, तो हो सकता है उस वक्त थोड़ी देर के लिए हमारे अंदर इंसानियत नहीं पैदा होती है, बहुत सारी चीज़ें सोच लेते हैं कि चलो अच्छा हुआ, ये अगर हम ऐसा नहीं करते तो इसको तो मरना ही था. लेकिन हमारे अंदर जो ज़मीर होता है, जो हमारी अंतर आत्मा होती है, वो हमें कभी जीने नहीं देती है. 1 दिन, 2 दिन, 3 दिन, 4 दिन, 2 साल, 10 साल, 20 साल, ज़िंदगी में कोई एक ज़रूर ऐसा वक्त आता है जब हमको वो चीज़ें लताड़ती हैं, मलामत करती हैं, हमको जीने नहीं देती हैं, हमारे अंदर वो गिल्ट पैदा कर देती हैं, और वही गिल्ट हमको हमारे अंजाम तक ले जाता है. डॉक्टर सदाव और हाना उसी दौराहे पे खड़े हैं जिस दौराहे पे कोई भी इंसान खड़ा हो सकता है. अगर उसके सामने उसका दुश्मन मौजूद हो और वो किसी ऐसी हालत में हो, मरने के करीब हो, तो कोई भी इंसान ऐसे दौराहे पे खड़ा हो सकता है और इस तरह के सवाल उसका पीछा कर सकते हैं. और उस सवालों से अपने आप को हम कैसे पीछा छुड़ा सकते हैं, उस वक्त हमें क्या करना चाहिए, क्या नहीं करना चाहिए, ये किसी और को सिखाना बहुत आसान है, ख़ुद के लिए बहुत मुश्किल होता है. डॉक्टर सदाव भी यही सोचते हैं कि ये सबसे बड़ी बात तो उसकी ये है कि वो एक दुश्मन है, एक अमेरिकन है. अगर इसको वो अपने घर में रख के इलाज करते हैं तो वो पकड़े जा सकते हैं, पुलिस उनको पकड़ेगी क्योंकि उन्होंने दुश्मन को पनाह दी है. अगर वो उसको पुलिस को हैंड ओवर करते हैं तो भी उसको मरना ही है. तो क्यों ना उसको उसके लिए सबसे अच्छा यही, उसकी सबसे बड़ी मदद यही है कि उसको वापस पानी में फेंक दिया जाए, उसको वापस उसी जगह पे फेंक दिया जाए. लेकिन क्या दोनों ऐसा कर पाते हैं? क्या ये इतना आसान होता है? आसान होता है, लेकिन हर किसी के लिए नहीं. जिसके अंदर इंसानियत एक कतरा भी, एक बूंद के बराबर भी होगी जिंदा, उसके लिए ये इतना आसान नहीं होता है। हम बड़े बड़े नारे लगाते हैं, जीव हत्या पाप है, दुनिया भर के पाप है, लेकिन इंसानों के बारे में जब हम बात करते हैं, किसी दुश्मन के बारे में बात करते हैं, तो सब चीज़ें भूल जाते हैं, सारे मोरल, सारे इथिक्स, सारे लेसन हम भूल जाते हैं, और इंसानियत उस वक्त हमारे लिए कोई मतलब नहीं रखती, कोई मायने नहीं रखती। इस स्टोरी के ज़रिए राइटर ने हमको बहुत बड़ा मैसेज यही दिया है कि सबसे बड़ी चीज़ जो होती है वो इंसानियत होती है, ह्यूमैनिटी होती है, सबसे बड़ा दुनिया का। अगर हर आदमी यही सोचना शुरू कर दे एक दूसरे के लिए, तो इस दुनिया में कोई भी बचेगा नहीं, कोई भी नहीं बचेगा। इतना सारे करप्शन जो आज हम झेल रहे हैं, वो क्यों झेल रहे हैं? इसीलिए तो झेल रहे हैं क्योंकि सबको अपनी पड़ी हुई है, सब सिर्फ अपने बारे में सोचते हैं। वो ये नहीं सोचते हैं कि बूंद बूंद अगर हर इंसान बनेगा तो एक घड़ा भर ही जाएगा, लेकिन हम बूंद बूंद नहीं बनना चाहते, हम उस घड़े में होल बना के अपने लिए भर लेना चाहते हैं। और नतीजा क्या होता है? जब बूंद ऊपर से आएगी नहीं तो घड़ा भरेगा कहाँ से, और हमारे पास उसका एक भी खतरा पहुँचेगा कहाँ से? नहीं पहुँचता है। और इस तरह हम तबाही और बर्बादी की तरफ जा रहे हैं। हमारे अंदर की ये जो सोच है, ये हमको डिस्ट्रक्शन की तरफ ले जा रही है, सिर्फ और सिर्फ तबाही और बर्बादी की तरफ। आई विल डिस्कस व्हाट दे डिसाइड to do with that man in my next video. Until then, keep thinking, keep studying. Till then, thank you very much. Jai Hind to all.